Good afternoon, all of you. And the last time we had done a number of questions on clocks. Now we'll take a look at an interesting area. Before that, let's have a quick review of those questions, especially from where? Clocks. So clocks, actually, we are going through the basic area of clocks. That is what exactly happening right now. And of course, some of the departments, they need a higher level questions as well. That means, like, for example, MCA department and MCOM, aided, maybe BCAs, you may have questions which are a bit more higher than this. So, well, I think the individual departments are planning to have a program which is having with higher level of questions. So this program, we are trying to cover the basic level of questions to expose you to basics of what exactly is required in a competitive exam. The next level definitely will look at what higher level questions, but that is not in common program. That may be like a department-wise program. So right now, I'll discuss a couple of more questions from what clocks. That means the common questions from clocks. One of the questions you can expect from clocks, that's like how many times the two hands of the clock are together in 2 days of time? This is the question. How many times the two hands of the clock are together in 2 days of time? So take a look at that question and give me an answer in the chat box. So let's try that question. How many times the two hands of the clock are together? Oh, so before I forget, there is an announcement. Well, the next class, aptitude training session, would be on Thursday. That means 15th. Today is like 13th, and tomorrow we don't have an aptitude training session. And we'll have the next session would be on Thursday. That means 15th. Okay, now look at that question. Well, I see the answers from Rin2. Anybody else? How many times the two hands of the clock are together? Well, if it says two hands, always remember in the case of clocks, two hands means it's a minute hand and hour hand. How many times the two hands together? In 2 days of time. The question is in 2 days of time. Well, we know that 1 day is 24 hours, 2 days of time means it's 48 hours. So 48 hours, how many times these two hands are together? That's a question. In 48 hours. Well, I see the answer from Sujitra, from Elizabeth, from Rintu, Saumya. Anybody else? So this case, the clock, what type of clock? It's not really mentioned. That means it's a normal clock. If normal clock, it's a 12-hour clock. If it is a 12-hour clock, how many times these two hands of the clock are together in 12 hours? That's the best thing we can deal with. In 12 hours, how many times these two hands are together? Just think about that first. Yeah, that's right. Sujitra says it's 11 times. How many times in 12 hours? So that's equal to 12 hours. That's 11 times. That's, you're right. Sibin and Sujitra, what you said is correct. And Saumya got the final answer correct as well. Akhil Krishnan got the final answer correct. Rintu got the final answer correct. Okay, good. Appreciate. Keep it up. So how many times that happens in 12 hours? Two hands are together 11 times. So that is 11 times in 12 hours. That means we have 48 hours. 48 hours means 12 plus 12 plus 12, 4 times. So ultimately, it happens 11 times in 12 hours. That means it happens 22 times in 24 hours, correct? 24 hours, 22 times, then 48 hours, it's 44 times. So that's the answer. And a similar question you can expect in competitive exams: how many times the two hands of the clock are opposite to each other in 3 days of time? So how many times the two hands of the clock are opposite to each other? So opposite means 180 degree. Together means 0 degree. So how many times that happens in 3 days? I see the answer from Rintu, from Akhil Krishnan. Anybody else? Sibin? Well, again, our approach is pretty much same. That means in 12 hours, it happens how many times? In 12 hours. I see the answer from Soumya as well. The two hands of the clock are opposite to each other. How many times in 12 hours? Is it 22 times or 11 times? 11 times or 22 times? What do you think? Two hands of the clock are opposite, 180 degree. I'm not talking about 90 degree, opposite. Well, in 12 hours, it happens only 11 times. Think about like 1 hour, between 12 and 1 o'clock. Between 12 and 1 o'clock, how many times it happens? It happens after 12:30, right? Only one time. Between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, how many times it happens? It happens one time, right? So it is every hour, not actually every hour, it is every 65 and 5 by 11 minutes. It happens once. So in 12 hours, it happens 11 times. Remember this. So it is similar to that of two hands are together. Two hands are together, that happens 11 times in 12 hours. And two hands are opposite to each other. That means 180 degree. Again, that's 11 times. If it is 11 times, of course, we are looking at 3 days. 3 days means what? How many hours? How many 12-hour blocks we have? 6 12-hour blocks, right? 6 into 11. So that is 66 times. Well, some of you got the answer: Soumya, Akhil, Rintu, and well, some of you got the answer. Some of you are kind of like a confusion with this, how many times it is in 12 hours. So always remember, opposite or together, that happens 11 times in 12 hours. And well, what is the time gap between two consecutive coincidences of two hands of the clock? Two consecutive coincidences. That means, what is the time gap between, like for example, 12 o'clock, these two hands are together, and after how many minutes it will be together again? That's a question. So what is the time gap between two consecutive coincidences? Again, that's a normal clock. If it is not a normal clock means well, it's like exact same standard time. But if the clock is not normal, it would be either fast or slow. So if the question is nothing specifically mentioned, we are talking about a normal clock. If it is a normal clock, what is the time gap? Well, Ashin, you are pretty close. The two hands of the clock are together at 12 o'clock. Think about it. At 12 o'clock, two hands of the clock are together. Now, when exactly the next time these two hands are together? Is it at 1 o'clock or after 1 o'clock? Now this is 12 o'clock, two hands are together. Yeah, it is after 65 minutes. You are right. It's after 65 minutes. That timing is 65 and 5 by 11 minutes. Exact timing is 65 and 5 by 11 minutes. Now you have to apply a little bit of logic in this. The next question, if it is a clock which is running faster than the other clocks, or this is a gaining clock, the clock which is running faster than other clocks, it's known as gaining clock. If it is a gaining clock, what would be the possibility of two coincidences? You'll have like set of answer choices. I'll give you the set of answer choices here. So if it is a clock which is gaining, that means running faster than other clocks, then what is the possibility of two coincidences? That means time gap between two coincidences. First one is 65 and 5 by 11 minutes. Second one is 64 and 2 by 11 minutes. Next one is 66 and 3 by 11 minutes. Next one is 67 and 4 by 11 minutes. So if it is a gaining clock, what is the possible time gap between two coincidences? Well, I see the area, answers from Alex. Anybody else? Amala? Anyone else? Akhil? The first answer choice is 65 by 5 by 65 and 5 by 11. So that's for a standard clock. Standard clock means it's not gaining, not losing. So in this case, the clock is clearly given that it's a gaining clock. So first one cannot be the answer. Now, if it is a gaining clock, that means which is running faster than the normal clock. So the time gap would be more or less. Think about it. So, well, let's say two persons are running, they are in a race. So if both of them are running fast, okay, so option is second one. Second option. The reason, the clock is running fast, so the distance covers, or the degrees which is covered by the clock would be more in less time. So that is the case. For if it is a clock which is slow, that means the time gap would be more than 65 and 5 by 11. So in this case, it is less. So this is the logic behind that answer. And look at the other two answer choices. This is more than 65. So let's say if 66 is the answer or 67 is the answer, there would be confusion between 66 and 67. So definitely they don't give such an answer if there is no accurate number is given. So 66 and 67 cannot be the answer. So the only answer possible is 64 and 2 by 11. Of course, we have definitely higher level questions. There are more higher level questions from clocks, but at this point of time, we are not really getting into that. But this program is a basic program. Some of you may not require it well, but some of the exams, it requires it. So according to your requirement and your department will make a plan and will go ahead with that. The other questions, higher level questions, which can be expected from clocks, I just give you an idea, especially those who are having self-preparation at this point of time. The other type of questions you can expect, sometimes you may have an angle given. That means the angle between two hands of the clock would be given. Yesterday, we have done a number of questions in the other way. We have time given and we need to find the angle. Now onwards, what they do, they'll give you the angle. For example, like 70-degree angle between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and you need to find the time. So that's little more kind of challenging question than we have done earlier. So those kind of questions you can expect, and that type of questions can be a bit complicated as well. So when time comes, I'll explain what exactly it is. Now we'll get into an interesting set of questions from quantitative ability. Let's take a look at it. So probably you must have read the first question. You must have read the first question here when I displayed it for the first time. So as part of a CSR, corporate social responsibility, saplings are planted in such a way that the planting doubles on each day in comparison with the previous day. If the CSR department continued their effort for 120 days until they finished a large area of barren land, then on which day they had finished planting exactly half of the number of saplings? Take a look at that question. Yes, I see the answer from Amala. Actually, this is a tricky question. You don't need to solve anything. You just apply your common sense. You'll get the answer. Akhil, Amala, Akhil, anybody else? I see the answer from Saumi as well. Elizabeth, Sujitra. Saplings are planted in such a way that the planting doubles on each day. For example, they start from day one. This is day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. It goes like that. The first day, let's say they planted like maybe 4 saplings. The next day, they'll plant 8. And the next third day, they'll plant 16. And next day, it's 32. The next day, it's 64. And 6th day, it is 128. It goes like that. And it's for what? 120 days. Normally, the first answer come to your mind is 60th day, total 120 days, correct? So 60th day. What doesn't really happen in 60th day? Yeah, that is true. I see the answers from many of you now. So this we'll take an example. This is 6 days. 6 days we have planted, right? So if you take half of that, 3 days. If it is 3 days, then up to 3 days, what it is 16. But up to 6 days, what it is 128. Half of 128 is what? It is not 60. It is what? 64. So it is, that doesn't happen in a half. So it's 60 cannot be the answer. Well, apply your common sense. You need to finish this on 120th day. So whatever you had on the previous day, 119th day, 119th. So let's say you have a plant at 4,400. So then the next day, 120th day, you will finish, you plant what? 8,800, correct? So which day exactly half of them? So the finishing day, it is going to be 8,800. Half of them just previous day. So 119th day, that's the answer. So then on which day they had finished the planting exactly half of the total number of saplings. That's the case. Now, number 2. total of 1,700 honeybees living in the number of colonies consist. This question, probably you see the similar type of question in our first test. You remember that the first test on the starting day. So that is 1,700 honeybees living in a number of colonies consist of queens and worker bees. Every 99, for every 99 worker bees, there is one queen. The total number of queens. Yes. Alex, anybody else? Godwin? Ashen? Anybody else? So total we have 1,700 honeybees that's living in a colonies, living in a number of colonies. They consist of queens and worker bees. We have no idea how many queens, how many worker bees. For every 99 worker bees, one queen. So 99 worker bee plus one queen, we can take it as a group of 100. So if that is the case, how many groups are available here? Total 1,700. So how many groups? 17 groups are there. The question is total number of queens. So 17 groups are there, so 17 queens must be there. So the number of queens must be 17. Sometimes they may ask the question the other way. How many workers are there? How many worker bees are there? So total is 1,700, right? How many queens? 17. So total 1,700 minus 17. So what is it? 1, 6, 8, 3. That's the answer. So if they ask you the question, how many worker bees are there? So this case answer is 17. So these are, what interesting questions. You don't need to apply a lot of formula. Just what is required is your common sense. So it's like a logical way of solving questions. There is a mathematical way of solving these questions. You can replace all this with formulas, and you can do it that way, but we don't need it. Go for the next one. This is another question probably you must have seen earlier. 23 POP purchase materials were displayed in an exhibition ground. All but 11 were taken away after 2 hours in order to comply the restrictions forced by the municipality. How many of the POP materials are left out in the ground? Yes, I see the answers from Amila. Anybody else? Total 23 POP. POP material means point of purchase material. You must have studied about advertising, marketing, sales, all those kind of things. So it's a point of purchase materials. 23. All but 11 were taken away. All but 11 are taken away. That means all are taken away, but 11 were not taken away. That is the meaning of all but 11 were taken away. All the people but 20 died in a building crash or in an airplane crash. All the people died. All the people but 20 died. So all the people but 20 means all the people died but 20 not died. So same case, 23, all but 11 were taken away. So all but 11. So that means 11 was not really taken away. So how many in the ground? 11 on the ground. So how many POP materials are left out in the ground? So how many? 11 is the answer. So how many were taken away? This case, if they ask you the question, how many were taken away? 11 were left out and total 23. How many taken away? 12 is taken away. So taken away is 12. But the question, this case, they asked how many left out in the ground. So 11. Number 4, number of Audi cars speeding on Autobahn. Probably you heard of Autobahn. That's a German freeway. There is no like speed restrictions on autobahn. So you can drive, well, it's a limit of your car. If you can drive 260 kilometers, 440 kilometers, doesn't matter. There's no restriction. So a number of Audi cars speeding on an autobahn in such a way that two Audis in front of an Audi and two Audis behind an Audi and an Audi between two Audis. And I see the answer from Amala, Akhil, Angel. Okay, sorry, not from Akhil. Akhil, actually, that's a answer for the previous question. So Amala, Benedict, Ansi, Alan, Sachin. Alan K. Benny as well. Donna. Okay, let's try. Akhil, let's try this. So we need what? The conditions. Two Audis in front of an Audi. So let's say this is an Audi and we need two Audis in front of an Audi. And two Audis behind an Audi. So let's say this one is the Audi we are selecting, then two Audis must be behind that Audi. And an Audi between two Audis, there are two Audis. So first one here and third one here. And of course, there is one in between. Okay. Then what is the minimum number of Audi? So how many? What's the minimum number? You can have three Audis that can satisfy all these conditions. So of course, you can have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, that's possible. But this is what? With 3 Audi, you can satisfy this condition. This question can be asked in different ways. For example, like sometimes they may ask, like, in a house, there are 2 fathers, 2 sons, 1 grandfather and 1 son. 2 fathers, 2 sons, 1 grandfather and 1 grandson. So how many? What's the minimum number of people in that household? That means minimum number of males in that household. Two fathers, 2 sons. Yes, 2 fathers, 2 sons, and 1 grandfather, 1 grandson. So this is what the condition. So think about it. You have a grandfather, and grandfather has a son. So that's we call it father. And you have the grandson. Now, what we need is 2 fathers, 2 sons, and 1 grandfather and 1 grandson. So 1 grandfather has already been here. So we can see that grandfather is here and grandson is here. That part is done. Now we need 2 fathers and 2 sons. 2 fathers and 2 sons. So 2 fathers, well, this one, this father, the father is the father of this grandson. So 1 father we have, then grandfather is the father of father. So that's another father we have. So we have 2 fathers. And we need 2 sons. So this father is the son of grandfather. So we have 1 son. Then grandson is the son of the father. So we have 2 sons. So, well, 2 fathers and 2 sons, the minimum number we can have is 3. Well, maximum number, you can have any number. That's not our case. Our case is what? The minimum number. We need to find out the minimum number. In case, if you have any kind of confusion, feel free to ask me straight away. So if you have any kind of confusion, the best way to ask the confusion is unmute your microphone and ask me right away. Now question number 5. This is another interesting question. A livestock vendor has lovebirds and rabbits. If the number of heads is 48 and the number of legs is equal to 140, then the number of lovebirds. These are the kinds of questions we were dealing when we were in school, right? You remember these questions in probably like Valderrama or those kind of publications. These were the interesting questions, but we ignored these kind of questions, or we kind of categorized as too difficult to solve. But these questions they used in even Valderrama, Kalikudika. Now you can see that Kalikudika, even for this like small kids, they are having this kind of questions to develop their aptitude. That's a purpose. So when you have children, keep that in your mind. So these kind of interesting questions, make your kids do it as much as possible. That means don't force them, just in a friendly way. So if they do it, that would be good for them in their future. So far, I see the answer from Richu, Richulal. Anybody else? Jyodisha. Where are the other people? We have Akhil, Alan, Amala, Saumya, Donna, Sachin, Ansi, Benedict. Where are you guys? Therese, Ashin, Srijit, Ria, Kartika, Sibin. So Amala, she got the answer. Donna got the answer. Alan got the answer. Sachin. Anyone else? Let's try this question. A livestock vendor has a rabbits and lovebirds and rabbits. So we just mark it as L and R. So lovebirds and rabbit is R. So well, L plus R together, what we have? 48 heads. That means each of this, lovebird has only one head and rabbit has only one head. So total number of heads, L plus R is equal to 48. So one head for lovebird and one head for rabbit. So one, so you don't need that one. So L plus R, 48. Now it says that all together, the number of legs together, it's what? 140. So lovebird, which has what? 2 legs, correct? And rabbit has 4 legs. So 4 legs for each rabbit. We have no idea how many rabbits, but we know our number of rabbits. So that is together 140. So ultimately, these are two equations. Ultimately, so how do we solve it? Equation number 1 and equation number 2. So equation number 1, I just make it as 2L. In order to solve it, I just make it as 2L plus 2R, that is equal to 48 plus 48. When you multiply 48 by 2, 48 plus 48 is what? 96. So this is equation number 1 modified. Equation number 1 modified. Now look at equation number 2 and 1. So you need to get rid of either L or R. So this case 2L, 2L. So you can get rid of that, 2L minus 2L. So what we are going to do is 2 minus 1, equation number 2 minus equation number 1. So 4R minus 2R, this is 2R, and 2L minus 2L, that is 0. That's equal to 140 minus 96, that is 44. So 2R is equal to 44, R is what? 22. If R is 22, we know that L plus R is 48. So R is 22, L must be 26. So that's a question. How many lovebirds we have? 26 lovebirds. That's the answer. Any questions? Good. So let's go further. Next one is average type of questions. I have given you an idea about average last time when we met, I think last week. So now this is what the application of average type of questions. How do we apply those average in these questions? Question number 6 and 7. Take a look at question number 6. I think you had the same question for your test. The first test, you had that question. And keep one thing in mind, I'll give you one more test that exactly at the same level, but questions would be different. I'm planning for the exact same level. The reason, you will see that difference from your starting point last week or the when we started, and once you finish, you can see that difference and you can see the improvement in the score as well. So the test would be like, we'll have 2 more sessions, so that test would be in either one of that session. So get ready for that, and it's going to be same timing, 25 minutes. So I just want to share with you, you can see the difference. It's a self-evaluation, so you can be satisfied and you can be proud of yourself if you see the change in the score. If there's no change in the score, then you have to think about what is the reason behind it and think about how do you can improve. That's pretty much a self-evaluation. All right, I see the answers from Alan, Sachin, Amala, Jyotisha, Paulvin, Saumya. Okay, let's try this. Average weight of A, B, C is 60. So average weight means A plus B plus C by 3. That is equal to 60. So that means we know that A plus B plus C is equal to 180. Total weight of these 3 people, 180. If A weighs 50 kilograms, so A is 50. That means B plus C together, that would be the balance. How much is that? 130. So B plus C together is 130. And the weight of B is 2 kilograms less than that of C. So B and C. Weight of C is 2 kilograms less than that of C. So B and C together 130. Weight of B is 2 kilograms less than that of C. So B and C difference would be what? 2. So what would be the answer? If it is they are equal weight, it must be 65 and 65, right? But the weight difference is 2. That means if you take it as B 63 and C 67, that weight difference is 4. That's not possible. It must be 64 and 66, correct? 64 and 66, total must be 130, and difference is 6 and 64 and 66, difference is 2. Then what would be the weight of B? That's a question. Weight of B would be 64. B is 2 less than C. So B must be 64. Most of you got the answer. Some of you had the confusion. I think some of you got the answer, but instead of B, you have marked as C as well. So C is 66. That's correct. C is 66. And B is 64. Okay, let's go for next one. Question number 7. I think you can see that question. The average age of 2 grandparents in a family is 69. Average age of 2 parents is 32. And the average age of 2 children is 4. And what's the average age of the family? Well, that's interesting. Take a look at that. Alan, I see the answers from Alan, Paulvin, Jyotisha, Donna, Benedict, Akil Krishnan. So average age of two grandparents in a family is 69. Average age of two parents, so grandparents, so two grandparents, so grandfather and grandmother, average age, that means by 2, that is equal to 69. So what is the total age of grandparents? Grandfather plus grandmother together, that is equal to 138, correct? Then parents, father plus mother, average, that is 30, what is it? 32, yes. So, well, father and mother together, that is 64. Now look at the children, two children. We call it children C and D. C and D together, average is 4. So that means C plus D, that must be 8. So the total age of the family is going to be 138 plus 64 plus 8. 64 plus 8 is 70. Sorry, 72. 72 plus 138. 72, 138, 140, 210, correct? 210. How many members in the family? Total 6. So if you take average, 210 by 6, that's the answer. So what is it? 35. And most of you got the answer 35. Perfectly all right. So when you find the average, always remember, you need to have the total figure. Total figure. So this case, 69 is the average. Make sure you have the total figure 138. Same way, 32 is the average for parents, father and mother. So we'll have the total age 64. So if you go with that way, that means that's pretty much an approach. If you know that approach, it's easy for you to get the answer. Let's go for next one. The average of 7 numbers is 12. Question number 8. Take a look at it. Take a look at question number 8 and 9. See the answer from Ansi, Jyotisha, Sachin, This is a common variety of question you may see in competitive exams. The average of certain numbers is given, and if each number is multiplied by a specific number, and then 5 or whatever number is added to each of these resultant numbers, then the new average would be what? I see the answers from Renz, Sujitra. Usually this kind of questions, the approach for this kind of questions, well, if the average is given as 12, what is multiplied? 2. It's multiplied by 2. So 12 into 2, average into 2. And what is added? Into 5. So it's 29 is the answer. However, you may have a doubt whether this is correct or not. If that's the case, it's pretty easy for us to prove it. Exam point of view, there's no need to prove it. You get the answer. You already have the answer, 29. But, well, if it is, you want to have a pretty good idea whether it's true or not. What we can do, the average of 7 numbers is 12, right? So we'll take it as numbers as 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So these are 7 numbers. And what is their average? That is 12. So when you add these numbers and you divide that with 7, you'll get 12. So each number is multiplied by 2, and then 5 is added to that. So, well, this is 18 into 2. I mean, 9 into 2, 18. 18 plus 2, 23. 10 into 2, 20. 20 plus 5, 25. And 11 into 2, that is 22. 22 plus 5, 27. And 20, this 12. 12 into 2. 12 into 2 is what? 24. 24 plus 5, 29. Now, this one, 13. 13 into 2, 26. So 31. And 14. 14 into 2, 28 plus 5, 33. 15 into 2 is 30. 30 plus 5, 35. And this case, the first case, you see that the difference between the numbers are 9 and 10, it's 1. 10 and 11, it's 1. Equal difference. And second case, you see the difference between numbers? Again, it's equal, but it is 2. So if the equal difference between these numbers, we have discussed that last week. You remember that if it is odd number, this total number is odd, that is 7, correct? So if it is odd number, so the middle number is going to be the average. And that was a previous case. Previous case, 9, 10, 11, 12 was the average. Why? 12 is the middle number. So if it is total numbers given here, this 7 is an odd number. So 12 is the average. So this case, 29 is the average. Or you can find the average the other way, 23 plus 25 plus 27 plus 29 plus 31 plus 33 plus 35 divided by 7, you'll get the average. Anyhow, the average is what? 29. See that? It is proved. So next time, if you get a question like this, there is no need to go this way. So what you can do is, give an average, it is 12. And it must be multiplied by what? 2. It's multiplied by 2, and then 5 is added. So what do you get? 29. 29 is the answer. That's it. Yes, 29. So next question, question number 9. I think Amala has the answer for that question. And how about the others? Question number 29. The average weight of 10 bags, 55. A bag is taken away and replaced by a new bag weighs 50 kilograms. So the weight of new bag is 50 kilograms. Hence, the average weight of all bags decreased by 1 kilogram. The weight of the bag is taken away is what? I see the answers from Amala, Alex, Donna. Anybody else? All right. The answers so far we have from Renz, Jyotisha, Soumya as well, and of course Brendet. So what is the pattern here? You may be really wondering why this kind of questions, why we need the weight of the bag, all those kind of things. Well, especially, you know what, the organizations, like reputed organizations and central government organizations, for example, customs. And from the last few days or the last few weeks newspaper, if you check out the newspaper, they were dealing, the customs department were dealing a lot of kind of like trial and error with the baggage weight, especially that is connected with gold smuggling case. And they were trying to figure out, well, if this baggage, if this one piece has this much of weight, and if they bring 100 pieces together, what would be the total weight, and what would be the difference in the actual weight, and if that difference could be some other material or whatever it is. These are the kinds of questions they were asking, and they were doing this trial and error method. So these are the practical applications of these kind of like thinking method. So if you have the ability to think in that way, definitely you will be an asset for that organization you join. It could be in private sector or it could be in government sector, doesn't matter. So that's the purpose of this kind of questions. Now let's take a look at that. Question number 9, the average weight of 10 bags. So 10 bags, average weight is 55 kilograms. So 10 bags, we have no idea which are the bags, but we can call it A plus B plus C. These are the bags, A plus B plus C plus B up to what? J, 10 bags. So that divided by 10, that is going to be 55. Now, what's the total weight of that 10 bags? Total weight is going to be 550 kilograms. That's the total weight. Now, what happened here? A new bag. So we have a bag taken away and which is replaced by a new bag, which weighs 50 kilogram. 50 kilogram. So a bag is taken away. We have no idea which bag, but let's assume that bag C is taken away, and a new bag is added. So let's say K is added. Now after that, the average weight of all those bags is decreased by 1 kilogram. So average weight is decreased. Average weight is decreased by 1 kilogram. There are total 10 bags. So total weight is decreased by 10 kilogram. See that? Total weight is decreased by 10 kilogram. So the difference between the weight of those two bags, the bag which is taken away, that is C, and the bag which is come in, that is K, that difference is going to be 10 kilograms. That 10 kilogram is less. So, well, the new bag, it is 50 kilogram, then the weight of the taken away bag must be what? More than that or less than that? It must be more than that, because the new bag came in, the weight decreased. So the earlier, the bag which was taken away, the weight of that bag was 60 kilograms. So that's the answer. So if you have any kind of questions, that means any kind of confusion, or you need the explanation once again, feel free to ask me right away. Everything is good? So answer is 60. All right, let's go for the next one. Now, question number 10. The average weight of 10 chimpanzees in a zoo is increased by 2 kilograms when one chimpanzee of the zoo weighing 120 kilogram replaced by a new chimpanzee. The weight of the new chimpanzee is what? A similar question, but it's slightly different. Take a look at it. Average weight of 10 chimpanzees. So take a look at it. So if you apply the same logic what we have used in previous question, you'll get the answer pretty quick. You don't need to do a lengthy calculation. So I see the answer from Paulvin. Anybody else? Paulvin, Donna, Amala, Jyotisha, Ria. All right, from Ria, Renz, and Sujitra, we have the answers. And of course, we have the answers from many of you guys as well. So let's take a look at that question. The average weight of 10 chimpanzees in a zoo is increased by 2 kilograms. So how many chimpanzees? 10 chimpanzees. Average weight is increased by 2 kilograms. That means total weight is increased by 20 kilograms. when one chimpanzee of the zoo weighing 120 kilograms is replaced by a new chimpanzee. So the weight of the chimpanzee which was taken away is 120 and the new one is introduced. So when the new one is introduced, what happened? The average weight is increased by 2 kilograms. The average weight is increased by 2 kilograms means total weight is increased by 20 kilograms. The total number of chimpanzees is 10. So 20 kilograms is increased. 120 is gone. So if 20 kilograms is increased means 140 came in. So the weight of new chimpanzee is 140. You don't need any kind of formula. Just look at the question and you get the answer. If you need further explanation, talk to me. 140. Got it? Now question number 11. A cricket player hits 3 boundaries and 4 sixes. So, well, you know what is boundary. So 3 boundaries and 4 sixes and 18 single runs in 9 overs. On an average, how many runs he made from a ball if there is no wide and no invalid balls? So 3 boundaries. So 3 into 4, 12. 3 into 4, 12, plus 4 sixes, 4 into 6, plus 18 singles. So what is that total? 12 plus 24 plus 18. So 12 plus 18, that is 30. 30 plus 24, 54. 54 runs in how many balls? 9 overs. In an over, 6 runs. So 9 into 6, 54, right? So 54 runs and 54 balls. So that's correct, 54 by 54, so 1. Sometimes they may ask a similar type of question rather than what's a run average or a run per ball, they may ask run per hour, average runs per hour. This case, what's the average runs per hour? 54 runs, right? And how many hours? 9 hours. 54 by 9, how many? 6, correct. 6 is the run rate. Pretty simple question, this one, because it's kind of multiple of 6. If it's not a multiple of 6, probably you need to have a fraction. So you may have a fraction. Okay, so well, next one. Question number 12. Total profit of a stationery shop for 20 days is 42,084. 20 days. The 21st day, the shop remains closed due to some reason, whatever it is. The overall average profit in 21 days is what? Yes, I see the answer from Alan. Paulvin. Rents. Sujitra. Again, this question is not that difficult, especially when you look at the numbers, you'll get a clear idea about how these numbers are given. For example, 42,084. What's the peculiarity of that number? And I have the answer from Ria and Sachin. Ria John and Ria Francis, then Amila, Donna. So what we need is average profit for 21 days. Total profit is given for 20 days. Total profit is given 42,084. So that's a figure which is given to us. What happened? Okay, so let's take it. So total for 20 days, that is 42,084. And the 21st day the shop is remain closed. So that means we have what, 0, correct? 0 is a profit on that day. So total 21 days. If you take 21 days, that is average must be 42,084 divided by 21. So do you see that this 42 and 84 are multiples of 21. So it's pretty easy for us to solve it. 2004 is the answer. So this one is 2. And we have, see that, 2004. That's the answer. Done. Sometimes, well, instead of this total profit for 20 days, they may give you the average profit of 20 days. They may give you the average profit of 20 days. So if it is average profit is given, then you have to find out the total profit for that 20 days. So if average profit is given, how do you find the total profit? Average into what? 20. So you'll get the total profit, that total divided by 21. So that is how they make the question a little more complicated. Next one, like next set of questions are slightly different from what we have done so far. These are numbers type questions. Numbers type questions, you see a lot of operations in that kind of questions. Well, it may not be really complicated, but it would be time consuming. So this question, the question number 30, they ask you to find out what the sum of 88,254 plus 1,364 minus 3,752 plus 2,147 minus 4,561. So simple actually, but it takes time. However, if you look at the answer choice, probably you get an idea from that. Is it necessary to add all these numbers, or do we get an answer without adding all the numbers, without doing the calculation? What do you think? The answer is what I see here. Okay, from Therese, from Godwin. So first of all, let me ask this question. Do we need to solve it to get the answer, or is there any other way? So do we add these numbers, subtract these numbers, or is there any other way? That's what the first thing I want to know from you guys. What you guys think? Yes, that is correct. Therese, she has the idea. So, well, this question, we don't have a none of this answer, right? We don't have a confusing answer. So, well, each answer, the last digit, look at the last digit. Here it's 3, here it's 5, here it's 2, and here it's 7. So each question, the last digit is different. So if you can get the last digit of this whole number or last digit of this whole operation, then that would be the answer. This is applicable only when this last digits are different. So in this case, we are perfectly all right with that. So we'll try this. We'll try this. This is 4 and this is 4. 4 plus 4, 8. And we have a 2 must be subtracted from that. So 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 plus we have 7, that is 13. 13 minus 1, what is that? 13 minus 1 is 12. So last digit is going to be 2. So we have only one answer with the last digit 2. So that would be the answer. You don't need to do the whole calculation. You got it? So this is what the peculiarity of this question. So some of the questions you don't need to solve it. Now look at question number 14 and 15. All right, so well, I see the answers from many of you. Starting from Soumya, Alan, Renz, Albin, Sujitra, Alex Sebastian, Amala, Ria, Soumya, Tripta, Godwin, Donna, and Elizabeth. So the answer what we have is 10,034. Again, this question is not that complicated. The reason for that, some of the figures are pretty easy for us to deal with. I'll show you that. And probably you must have seen it. 2,500 into 25. That's pretty easy. What, 25 into 25? What is it? 625. 625, then we have 2 zeros. Then what do you have? We need to subtract what? 60,234. So 62,500 and 62,34. That calculation is not that complicated. Definitely, you can get this answer. 1,034 is the answer, right? Now find the sum of first 40 natural numbers. If it is first 40, first 20, first 50, first 100, pretty easy. So what is the method for that? I see the answers from, well, Gio, Sachin Gio, Donna, Renz, Godwin, Soumya. Oh, many of you. And most of you know what it is. N into n plus 1 by 2. That's a simple way of doing it. So n is what? 40. 40 into 41 by 2. So, well, 40 by 2 is 20. 20 into 41. So 41 into 2 is 82. 820 is the answer. That's it. Simple question. All right, next one. So always, one more thing, always be aware of that. Rather than the first natural numbers, sometimes they may ask you the first squares. For example, like 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus etc. squares. Sometimes it could be cubes. Each one there is a formula. So check out those formula and find out that. So that's something which you can expect in higher level. This is base level. When it gets to higher level, definitely those kind of questions are expected, especially for MCAs, BCAs, and for MCOM guys as well. So be ready for those kind of questions. Now, next one we have, find the least common multiple of 4 and 5, 4, 5, and 6. Least common multiple, that means LCM. So LCM of 4, 5, and 6. Straightforward question. Yeah, I see the answer from Nancy, Soumya, Tripta, Donna, Elizabeth, Sujitra, Therese, Alex, Renz. Altogether, what we get is like, if it is least common multiple, usually what we do is 4 into 5 into 6. 4 into 5 is 6 into 6. That is 120. However, this case, half of 120 is 60. Well, 60 is a multiple of 4, 60 is a multiple of 5, 60 is a multiple of 6, possible. How about half of that? It must be 30. 30, it's not possible. And 20 is not a multiple of 6. So, well, 60 is the answer. 60. And find the highest common factor. So HCF. So highest common factor. It's not LCM, but which one is the highest common factor among these three numbers? Which is the highest common factor? So, well, if you look at from that, 2 is a common factor, but that's not the highest one. Well, apart from that, you have 6 is a common factor. 12 is a common factor. At the same time, we know that 36, 18 into 2 is 36, 18 into 3 is 54, and 18 into 4 is 72. So 18 is the highest common factor. These are all kind of like, mathematical questions, actually, quantitative ability questions, but you don't need to really solve it. You can get the answer by looking at the question. That's advantage. Now, next one. Find the total number of triangles of any size in the picture. So you can take triangle of any size, but what we need is total number of triangles. I see the answers from Godwin, Therese, Tripta, anybody else? Sachin, Albin, Soumya, Donna, Amala, Renz, Sujitra, Ansi. So let's take a look at that. What exactly the approach for this kind of question? This one is a straightforward question, pretty simple, but some of the questions may be a little more complicated than this. So if you have an approach for these kind of questions, that would be easy for you to solve this. So in this case, the first thing what we do, we'll take one at a time. That means the smallest pieces. So this case, smallest piece, this is 1, this one is 2, 3, 4, each one is a triangle, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 7, 8, 9. So 9 of them. So we'll take one piece at a time. I just call it T1. One triangle at a time, that is 9 pieces. So 9 triangles. And of course, some of you got the answer. You must have taken this the largest triangle as well, the largest one. So 9 plus 1, 10. However, something which you have missed is in between there are other triangles possible. What are the other triangles possible here? You have to really take a look at that. See that? This one. This one is a triangle. So that 4 pieces together, that's a triangle. Correct? So we have one more triangle. Anything else? Any other triangle? I'll go for a blue color, then you can see that. Another one we have here, the largest triangle right here. This one, this is possible. So we have one more triangle. Anything else? Any other triangle possible? So we have 11 triangles so far. Any other triangle? Give me an idea. Some of you have up to 14. See that this one is a triangle. So if you take this way, this 4 pieces, that's a triangle. See that? So we have another triangle. Yeah, apart from that, what else we have? This one. This one is a triangle. We haven't taken that triangle. So we have one more. So 13 so far. Any other triangle possible? So far 13. Is it possible to have 14 triangles? Anybody? No, it's fine. So it's 13 triangles. So the answer is 13. So well, this is called, figure partition and counting. So they're kind of like different figures would be there. Instead of triangles, there must be squares, there must be like parallelograms, all those kind of possibilities. Even rectangles are there. So what I want you to do, well, we have a lot of practice questions on the website, YouTube video. You can take a look at YouTube video, figure partition and counting. Let me take a look at it. If it is possible, I'll just share the link right away here. Give me a second. Let me check it out. We'll go for playlist, and in the playlist, of course, logical reasoning, we'll go for, see that, missing number in figures and figure partition and counting, that's something which we see first. See that, figure partition and counting. Take a look at this one. I'll share the link. Give me a second, just pasting it. So this is the first one. This is the first one. And of course, there is one more video. So you can take a look at that. Now, let's go back to the paper we were dealing with earlier. Let me bring it up. Okay, so this is what the paper we were dealing with. Oh, again, it has closed. Okay, I'll bring it up. 1 second. We need whiteboard. That's good enough. Okay, whiteboard. So this one, apart from the question what we have done right now, so there could be the other possibility, something like, you know what, if it is a triangle like this, again, this comes under the category figure partition and counting. This triangle is divided into what number of parts? This is what number of parts. Now the question is, how many triangles in this figure? How many triangles? Take a look at it. A quick counting. Yes, I see the answers. I see the answer from Benedict, Sachin, Tripta. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go for a quick counting. So as I said earlier, our approach is that one piece at a time, one piece. If it is one piece at a time, I'll take it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So one piece at a time, we have 6 pieces. So we'll take it as T1. So one piece at a time, we have 6. Now two pieces together. Do we have a triangle? For example, 1 and 2 together, it's a triangle. 3 and 4 together, triangle. 5 and 6 together, triangle. So two pieces together, we have 3 triangles. Now 3 pieces. Any 3 pieces together, is it a triangle? Check it out. Any 3 pieces together. 1, 2, 3 together. So this is a triangle. See that? 1, 2, 3. That's a triangle. That's a right angle triangle here. 1, 2, 3 together. So that's possible. 1, 2, 3. It's a triangle. Then 3 pieces together. How many such triangles? 1, 2, 3 is a triangle. 2, 3, 4 is a triangle. 3, 4, 5 is a triangle. 5, 6, 1 is a triangle. So how many such triangles possible? 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. 2 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 1 triangle. 4, 5, 6, another triangle. So 2 triangles plus 3, 4, 5 and 2, 1, 6, another 2 triangles. Then what we have is 5, 6, 1 and 2, 3, 4. That's another 2 triangles. See that? Now 3 triangles. So total 6. Now 4 triangles. 4 pieces together. It's a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4 together. That's not a triangle. 2, 3, 4, 5 together. That's not a triangle. 2, 3, 4, 5. Not a triangle. 3, 4, 5, 6. Not a triangle. 5, 6, 1, 2. Not a triangle. Not possible. So 5 pieces together. It's not possible. Now it's 6 pieces. All these 6 pieces together. That's a triangle. So how many are there all together? Think about it. See that? It is something more than what we have imagined. So total 16 triangles are there. 16 triangles. So that's a peculiarity of this type of questions. You have to be really focused on these type of questions in order to get the answer. So what I suggest is go for those videos. The first one I have posted you the link, and you can get the next one, second video from YouTube training. Walnut Training YouTube. And anyway, it's pleasure working with you.